All right, everyone. Welcome back to the MMAOB Daily Podcast. Round 2 here on Monday, November 21st, 2022. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Not joined by Big Marcel for this podcast. He had to take off after the first show. But thanks, Marcel, for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoyed that first show where we obviously got to talk about UFC Vegas 65 and some other stuff. This podcast, just PFL Championship Preview. There's no UFC card this weekend, but this card's pretty good. So I did want to preview this event. There are 11 fights on this card, so there is quite a bit to talk about. Looking forward to going through this card. I think the card will be pretty good. You know, PFL it's like a decent promotion, so I think the card on paper looks pretty good. So I'm looking forward to just going through this card with you guys and giving my thoughts on these 11 matchups. We got Joe in the chat. What's up, Joe? By the way, Joe, I know you're an Eagles fan. I bet on them yesterday. They were my parlay, dude, with the Bills and Ravens. That was a sweat and a half, Joe. Was it not? Was it not a sweat and a half? But I had faith in Jalen Hurts to get the job done, man. I had faith the whole time. I never thought about like cashing on my bet or betting on the other side. There was some people to do that just to hedge out and stuff because the other two they had already won at that point. I just thought they were going to get the job done. They did, man. I was so happy, dude. The guy's a fucking beast. All right, let's get into PFL. Let's do it. All right. So PFL Championship, guys. It takes place this Friday in New York. 11 fights in the card, so I'm just going to go through it myself. Again, Marcel's not joining us for this, just me. Hope you guys are okay with that. Let's pull it up here. Got the I'm going to pull up the card for you guys over at Topology. Here we go. There we go. So we got, sorry, not 11 fights. My bad. It's 12 fights, actually. So there's even one more. I think this one's an amateur fight, though, so I don't know if you want to count it as a pro fight. There are odds for this fight, not on DraftKings, though, but other websites do have it. I don't know if they'll be pulled because I think it's an amateur fight. They're not supposed to put odds up for amateur fights. So those odds might get pulled. Let me just see right now. Yeah, DraftKings doesn't have that one, but I know some other sportsbooks do. Again, they might get pulled because they don't usually do amateur fights for betting odds. But let's start with this fight. Biagio Ali Walls versus Tom Grazer. I know this guy's related to Muhammad Ali. Let me just look at the connection. I think he's like grandson or something. Let me double check here. He is the grandson of Muhammad Ali, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of an interesting prospect because of that name alone, right? You look at his record; he doesn't have one really. 1-1. It's an amateur again. This, both guys don't have much experience here. Let's just look at his profile here. Yeah, I mean, he lost one fight and 1-1 this year. He's 1-1. He hasn't fought anyone good. But at the same time, this other guy he's fighting has no fights. And, I mean, no offense to this dude, but, like, it just looks like they're setting him up to lose here. I don't think you can bet on this fight eventually. I think they'll be pulling it from the other sports books. But if you can bet on it, I would definitely take Ali. He should win this fight. Even though he's got no experience, it's clear what they're trying to do here. Okay, let's go to the next fight. This is another fight where I think it's kind of clear what they're trying to do. Dakota Ditcheva against Catherine Koranagis. Ditcheva is someone that I know about for a while. My boy James Lynch, he's been raving about her for a while now. I think for the last year or two, I want to say. And man, she's very talented. Obviously, very young, 24, starting to making, man. And if you look at her last fight in PFL, was impressive. The other fight, this was in Canada, this Palace Athena Championship earlier this year. UAE Warrior, she looked good in that fight too. She's just a good young prospect, man. Like, her striking is deadly. Good Muay Thai fighter. So she's got great striking. I should bring up the odds for this one because, again, you can bet on this one. DraftKings minus 350, and then her opponent's plus 290. 2-0, her opponent here. She is 33 years old, trains out of Thailand. Doesn't have a ton of experience. Really, like, the opponent she saw her 0-0. Again, she's probably going to lose this fight. I think Ditcheva wins this fight, guys. Like, she's someone that they're trying to push. I'll probably make a PFL parlay this week, and I'll probably put Ditcheva in it. I feel pretty confident she wins this fight. I'm pretty sure she's going to win. Probably by knockout, but a decision is possible too. Next fight, Magomed Karo versus Gleison Tebow. So a few weeks ago, I want to say, the odds came out, and Tebow was minus 700 at open, and Magomed Karo was plus 450. And a lot of people were saying, oh, this line's fake. This isn't a real line. I see people screenshot they actually got that line. I think Bet Online opened it. They usually open the odds. And Adam, he's a great odds maker. I mean, he does so many odds for so many fights. this was probably not one of his best openers. I think he'd be the first to admit that. I'm sure they've corrected it by now. But if you got in a Magomedov at plus money, oh my God, that's a great bet. Because I think he wins too, right? Like, he should absolutely win this fight. The guy's a beast. I mean, he's really good. And, you know, he could have won even more in PFL had he not been injured or sick or whatever. That was it against, I want to say, this fight where he got ill. He could have won even more. He could have won another tournament. I think the guy's really good. I definitely think he's great. So, you know, for me, going against T-Val is more like a bet against T-Val too, 39 years old. To be fair to him, I mean, he has looked decent in PFL. Like, I'll give him that because, you know, I don't think he beat Rory, but it was close enough where the judges fucked it up. I talk about that all the time. But like the other fight, he had Al Salali. It was pretty close fight against a good prospect, and he beat the other guy. Lost his first fight, but he's not bad. He's obviously got a lot of experience. A lot of people think he's the one guy who beat Khabib. He lost the decision on paper. It was 10 years ago now. Wow, it's crazy. I remember watching that fight, but just a lot of fence pushing. T-Val he's a good fighter, man, but I think it's a bad matchup for him. I think he loses. So far, I mean, I like the favorites, but like it's PFL where the favorites, again, it's kind of like Bellator where the favorites more often than not win, but there usually is like one or two upsets that fucking blow your parlay, right? It's not a guarantee. So that's the only thing. You got to look at the fights like each one individually and like be pretty confident. I'm pretty confident Ditcher wins. I'm pretty confident Magomedov wins. The next fight I'm not so sure about, right? Like, sorry, I mean, Schulte and Stevens it's an interesting fight. Schulte's minus 390, Stevens plus 320. I mean, I do think Schulte wins because to me, he's been fighting at a higher clip and he's been looking better. And Stevens, obviously, he's getting older now, coming off some losses. But, like, I don't know. I mean, the odds seem kind of heavy for this one, guys. Like, he's lost to really good guys, and this is going to Bellator, or to PFL, excuse me. Clay Collard fight was pretty close. It was a great fight. It's almost like forgotten about. It was 7 months ago now. It was an amazing fight. Then he beats Miles Price. It wasn't impressive, right? And that's why people were down on him. I get it. But just saying, like, look at the other losses. Gamrot, Catter, Rodriguez, Aldo, Magomedov. Like, I don't know, man. This line's a little long to me. Schulte's good. I'm going to pick him to win. I'm going to pick Schulte by decision because that's what he usually does, right? But he has lost some fights the last couple of years that he should have won. He should have beat Marcin Held. He could have beaten Olivier Aubin-Mercier and didn't do enough in that fight. So he's good. He's underrated. He should win this fight, but it just seems like the odds are a little high, plus 320 for Stevens. I'm going to pick Schulte by decision. That's my pick. We get some comments here. Kayla will be in UFC unless Dana want to pay. What's up, Jim? What's going on? Yeah, she should be in the UFC soon, right? Because like, what other fights is she going to get? I guess unless they bring Cyborg over. Schulte decision, probably. I'm just saying, minus 390 to see a little elevated to me. Like, if you look at Ditcheva and Magomedov, I'm more confident they win. So that's all I'm saying. But he should win. What's up, Antoine? Do y'all think Kayla comes to UFC? Oh, he's asking about that. Probably, but again, I think the Cyborg thing is interesting. I did notice today that Alex Bakunin had that like humanizing athletes with her, and her favorite knockout were Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. It's pretty obvious she wants to fight Cyborg. I mean, she wouldn't throw that out there unless she wanted to fight her. So I think that's the fight she wants. Next fight here, we got Shayman Moraes versus Marlon Moraes. Like, what a crazy fight this is. I didn't even realize they had booked this fight. This must be new, right? Because I know Shane Burgos got injured, right? Wow, this is a crazy one. I don't see the odds on DK. Let me just double check here. That's wild. So they have, I believe, fought before. Let me check this out. I think they fought in WSOF, I want to see. Let me see here. Yeah, they fought in WSOF like 7 years ago, and Marlon beat Shayman by a third-round rear naked choke. Now, to be fair, that was when Marlon was like arguably like, I don't know if he was the best bantamweight in the world, but he was like top 5 easily. He was like top 3 even at that point. This is a different fight though. Marlon's coming off 4 straight losses by knockout, like getting brutally knocked out. He's 34 now. He's not super old, but the knockouts add up, right? And then Shayman, he does have some power. He's 32, he's a little bit younger, but does have some power. We've seen that throughout his career. On paper, Marlon Moraes is the better fighter, guys, but like I don't really trust his durability anymore, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he lost this fight. The odds just came out for this fight. They actually just came out today. It's crazy. I was looking right now. Shayman's the favorite, minus 175. So they just popped up. That's interesting. I guess I would lean Shayman too because it's hard to bet on Marlon Moraes right now, right? Because of the durability issue. So that's the problem here. But Yeah, I mean, it's probably a fight I'll stay away from. It's kind of like short notice fight. It's kind of a weird fight. All right, now we get to the tournament fights, which I want to talk about here. Actually, let me finish the last non-tournament fight first. Julia Budd and Aspen Ladd. Another kind of weird one. Ladd's minus 215, Budd plus 185. I mean, Ladd should win. She should, right? Like, she is a good fighter. She's only 27, super young. Hasn't looked good lately, but now that she's back at featherweight, she should be able to make this weight class. And at her best, I mean, she was a devastating fighter at some points. You know, this fight with Yana Kutskova and this other one with Tanya Evinger in her debut, or not debut, it was her second fight at UFC. That was a devastating knockout. So it's just been a few years since that. I'm just not sure what version of Aspen Ladd we're getting anymore. That's the problem I have with her right now. Like, it's hard to trust her. Again, she should win this fight because she's the younger fighter and probably more in her prime. But again, Julia Budd, very experienced. She's 39 though. You know, that's again, I have a hard time picking someone who's 39. Also, she just lost to Jenna Fabian. That's a fight she should have won. She was a favorite and lost. But before that, look at the win streak she was on besides the Cyborg loss, right? So she's good. This is a good fight. I really like this fight. It's a good matchup for both women. I'd favor Aspen Ladd, I guess, because of the age. But we all know that the age doesn't always mean they'll win. So it wouldn't completely shock me if Ladd just had another bad performance because there's just so much going on with her with the weight cutting and stuff like that this year. It's been a crazy year. But I still got to go with her to win the fight. Probably by decision, I would guess. Can't believe. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this, Jim. $50 for this pay-per-view. I mean, I don't see a ton of people buying it, you know, personally, but I'll probably end up watching it. I'm just saying, like, I think the general and May fan or whatever, the casual fan you want to say, like, are they really going to buy this? I doubt it. All right, let's go to the tournament fights here. We got Omari Akhmedov against Rob Wilkinson in the middleweight division for $1 million here. Or sorry, not middleweight, excuse me. It's light heavyweight. Right now, the odds for this one, Wilkinson minus 195, Omari Akhmedov plus 165. I like Rob Wilkinson in this fight, guys. Like, to me, this guy, you know, I know he got cut by the UFC a few years ago because he lost to CR and Israel. Like, that, imagine getting cut after losing to Israel. Since then, he's just looked amazing. He's training at Factory X now. He's at a good camp. He's looked incredible in PFL this year, like really, really good. So improved. He's always been a striker with good power, but he just looks better now. His grappling looks better, everything. And he's only 30 years old. The UFC didn't really give him a fair shake. He got cut 4 years ago. I think this guy's really good. I'm excited to see this fight. Omar Akhmedov, obviously, UFC veteran himself. Tons of fights in the UFC, a little bit older, 35. You know, coming off a couple decent wins here. The Josh Oliveira winner was a nice win. Victor Pesta. I mean, these are decent wins. And I think he was the dog in two of those fights, right? So he's done a good job winning as an underdog. But again, you know, lost to the late Jordan Young last year. That was just over a year ago. He's a huge favorite. The UFC career was a little bit up and down, but I don't know, man. I've seen this guy get knocked out a bunch of times, and Wilkinson's a devastating striker. I got to go with Rob Wilkinson in this fight, guys. I do like the line too. I mean, it's a short line, minus 195. I like Rob Wilkinson in this fight. And again, I know I'm picking on the favorites, but it's like they should win on this card, especially this fight. I just really like this guy. Now, this fight's interesting. Delano Taylor against Sada BC. What's this guy named? The Postman against the Swedish Denzel Washington. Love the nicknames here. Odds for this one, C minus 155, Taylor plus 135. Like, see, this fight could be an upset, I think. You know, this definitely could be a potential upset. Taylor's looked good. He was the guy that I think he was short notice replacement, right, in the tournament. He did lose to Maggie McCura, but they beat Rory McDonald. And I know Rory's like finished in his career, but still it was a good win. It's 3-1 now in PFL. Have those wins in Titan FC. The one lost to Feraldo before in PFL. I think he's pretty good. And then C, I mean, he also beat Rory. It wasn't super impressive, but his takedown defense looked good. He beat Carlos Leal, which I think is a good win. I get why he's favored, but I look at the loss. He's had a lot of losses too. I don't know about this one, man. I honestly don't know about this one, guys. I think this fight could go either way. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised if the opponent wins this one, Taylor. I think it's dog or pass. There's going to be, like, not all these favorites are going to win, I don't think, the $1 million. There'll be at least one or two upsets. I think this could be one of them. So for me, it's probably a pass. I guess it's dog or pass in my opinion, though. All right, let's go to the next one here. Stevie Ray against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Odds for this one. Minus 365 OEM, Ray plus 300. I mean, OEM should win. Like, again, you know, he's the better fighter on paper. He's looked really good in PFL. I do think Ray's looked good, and I think he's a little bit underrated too, you know? Beat Anthony Pettis twice as a dog. Even in the rematch, or it was even money, I guess, but still didn't get much respect after submitting with that twist and then beats him up good in the next fight. The win over Michael Johnson in the UFC a few years ago. But he just lost to Alex Martinez guy. Not a great fight. He's kind of an inconsistent guy, but I mean, he does have some good wins in his career. There's no doubt about it. Like, I don't know. I mean, this again, the odds are a little bit inflated in my opinion. I would lean towards OEM to win probably decision. Although it's 5 rounds, so you never know. It could be a finish. These are 5-round fights. These title fights. Man, it's gonna be a long ass card. Holy crap! 7 fights on the main card, and 6 of them are 5 rounds. It's gonna be a long night. So I think the card will be what, like 4 or 5 hours. Holy crap, it's long. OEM probably, but again, I think the land's a little bit inflated. What matchup you guys looking forward to on the pay-per-view the most? Well, I'll talk about the heavyweight fight next because I think this one's gonna be a banger. Ante Delija against Matheus Scheffel. Odds for this one: Delija minus 245, Scheffel plus 205. Scheffel just come out of nowhere. I mean, really, like this guy was on Contender last year. He got knocked out by Azamat Murzakanov, which is crazy, right? Azamat's in the UFC. I think he's 15th ranked maybe in the light heavyweight division. He just got dropped out of the rankings. He's probably on a 12-12 deal or whatever in the UFC. This guy's going to make $1 million if he wins his fight. It's crazy, right? They have fought already earlier this year. He got knocked out already. By all accounts, this guy should get knocked out again by Delija, but I honestly don't think Delia's looked that good lately. I think he's a good heavyweight, don't get me wrong, but like the Sheldon Graves fight did not look good. He beat Ferreira, but that was like Ferreira looked awful too. I don't know, man. He lost to Capoloza. Like that fight was a war, by the way. That title fight last year was an absolute war. I have to pick Delija. He already has the knockout winner for this guy. Just saying it's heavyweight, but it should be a banger, man. I think it's a banger for as long as it lasts. So to answer your question, Antoine, that would probably be the fight. Two more fights here, guys. Brandon Loughnane against Bubba Jenkins at featherweight. Odds for this one: Loughnane minus 170, Jenkins plus 145. Yeah, I mean this is another fight where I get it. Loughnane's good. I mean, he's definitely good. He's got good striking, pretty good takedown defense, but Bubba Jenkins is a pretty good wrestler, man. You know, he has a path to victory here in this fight, right? If you can take him down and hold him there 5 rounds. I think that'll be difficult to do because it's 5 rounds. I don't know if he can do it for the full 5. I would lean towards Loughnane. This Brawl brawl his way to a decision here too, but again, you know, you probably will see an upset or two in the title fights, and this could be one of them. And then obviously the main event, Kayla Harrison against Larissa Pacheco. I mean, let's be honest, guys. This fight it's really not competitive. Minus 580 Harrison, plus 440 Pacheco. I'm checking to see if there's any props out right now because I think that the way to attack this under 3.5 is minus 150. I mean, to me, that seems like a good deal. Probably get like you could probably get Harrison like by finish at plus money too when the odds come out for this. They've already fought twice. She won both fights. I think it was decision. I want to double check. Decision and decision twice, but this is 5 rounds, right? That was 3. That was 5. Okay, so the second fight was 5 rounds. Okay, but she's been finishing everyone lately, and she needs to really put a statement out there. She wants to get that big fight that she's looking after. I don't know, man. Pacheco's look good. Actually, I would say she looked great. Like I think she's looked fantastic. She's just finding the worst possible matchups you can have. Harrison wins by ground and pound or by submission. I think she submits her or finishes her. So I would be looking for a prop on her winning inside the distance. You know what? And if Pacheco's tough enough to survive the decision, I think I could accept that loss. You know, but I think honestly, the way Harrison's fighting, she should finish this fight, in my opinion. I think Bubba wins. I think it's possible too. Are you surprised Kayla was much bigger favorite the first 2 fights? Are you asking if I'm surprised the line is like kind of like lower this time? A little bit. I mean, I think it's giving respect to Pacheco, but she's looked great. She's looked fantastic. I just think the grappling's going to play here. Andrew, what's up, man? How's it going? 2022 wouldn't be the weirdest thing Kayla get knocked out. Honestly, at this point, I'm not going to even be surprised that anything happens in the sport. But like, I would strongly lean towards her just being able to get the fight to the ground again. Like her grappling is just next level, right? And Pacheco's a good fighter, but again, like she hasn't really fought a grappler as good as Kayla since they first fought. And you know, the girl she beat, I mean, let's be honest, she should have beaten them, right? Like she did look good though. That's the thing. She's knocked out 5 straight opponents. I think she's looked great. She shouldn't have been cut from the UFC, man. She got a kind of a raw deal. Losses to Andrade and then ran to me. Beats Carol Rose in the regional scene. Comes back on tough. Loses to Macy Chasson. These are like 3 good fighters. Like 2 champions, 2 former champs, and then a pretty good fighter. So she's had a raw deal, but I think she's pretty good. I just don't like the matchup for her, if that makes sense. Anyways, that's it for the PFL card. I just wanted to go through with you guys quickly. It should be a pretty good card, I think. I don't know how many people are going to buy it for $50, to be honest with you, but I think it should be a pretty good card. close that up here. I'll stay on for a few more minutes, guys. If you have any other questions, and I'll answer them. Then to get out of here. Totals, yeah, I just saw that. I would lean under personally, but that's one line, right? We'll get more by the end of the week. We'll get like inside the distance and stuff like that. Hey, look what's on, man. How good is StreamYard? It's pretty good. I mean, it's free, right? So it's a free streaming service. I haven't really had any issues with it. I think it's pretty good. There might be something better out there. I'm not 100% sure, but for me, it's worked. I think we switched to this like 2 years ago. I want to say like during the pandemic. We tried Google Hangouts like 3 years ago. Me and James used to do it like that, and then they got rid of that. So I think it's been like 2 years with the StreamYards. I think it's been pretty good, and like I said, it's been free. So Brave is a fun card this weekend. I'll pull it up, Andrew. One sec. Thoughts on Guram and Moises? Great fight. I mean, I would lean Guram though. I think he's great. Let me pull up the Brave CF card for you, Andrew. Talk about that really quick. All right, let me pull this up. I'll take some other questions if you guys want to. Just me today, anyways. All right, Brave CF. I don't know a ton about these guys, man. It's in Indonesia. That's interesting. Okay, that's cool. Jeter Tafa's in the car. Okay, that's Justin's brother, former Glory guy. He's a kickboxer. Look at the main event here. Chad Hanekom, Superman, South Africa guy. Is he training with Drekas? Let me see. Fight Fit Militia. Or is that a different? I guess it's a different team, eh? But there's some good fighters coming out of Africa right now, which is good to see. Especially when they go to when the UFC goes there, it's gonna be awesome. These guys look pretty good lately, eh? A lot of knockouts, a lot of experience at Brave CF after EFC Africa. That's another promotion there. His opponent here, Injaila, good record. He's old, 36, South Korean fighter. He's also looked, I guess, pretty good lately, right? Former Road FC guy. I don't know, 36 though. That's getting up there, right? But his opponent also is not super young. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. This guy looks like he's in his 30s probably. Again, I don't keep track of Brave CF that much, but if you have a fight that you think is really good, I'll definitely check it out. Should Gillespie ask for his release and fight PFL? You should. You should just fight again. Are you a fan of Lex Friedman content? Don't even know who that is. Sorry. I think I've heard his name, but who is it? Is he like a conspiracy theorist guy or something? Like, I don't know who that is, man. Gotta be honest with you. Anyways, any other questions, guys? I'll take them. But I'm gonna get out here in a few minutes as well. Any idea when who Valentina or Mayonnaise needed to fight next? Don't know at this point. We don't know at this point. I mean, Valentina Furo looked pretty good against Chiyane, but not amazing. But she is the number contender now, so they could do that fight. For Amanda, I don't know. Vieira, I don't know what they're going to do with Amanda. I really don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard to say, but like we should get news soon, right? We should get news soon. What podcast do you guys listen to? Honestly, not as many as I used to be honest with you. I used to listen to like a lot more podcasts, but really just now, like mine, we have ours obviously, and then I'll listen to like James's, Cole's interviews with the fighters. Honestly, man, that's pretty much it. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm just trying to support my friends at this point. And the thing is, like, I respect all the content guys are doing. Like, there's so many good podcasts out there, and I think you should definitely listen to them all and find the ones you like the most and stuff. Although this is the best one, obviously. I'm just joking. But the thing is, I feel like when I used to listen to so many of them, it would kind of like change or cloud my opinion or like impact my opinions because I'd be like almost wanting to like not be like different than other people. And then I'm like, you know what? I know the sport just as well as anyone. Let me just, try to like not have those thoughts in my mind, especially before we do our pick show here. So that's why I've kind of cut them out. But just to answer your question, but yeah, I used to listen to like a lot more podcasts about like other sports and stuff. But for now, it's like I don't know, man. I just not as many as I used to be honest with you. Good question though. Thoughts on the Crow situation? We talked about in the first podcast, 8 Loco. I mean, at this point, it's playing out. I don't want to say he's guilty of it because I don't think it's fair. Gotta let the legal situation play out. It doesn't look good though, and I'm just curious to see like how it impacts the fighters. Like, will they choose to leave his camp? Right, and that's a possibility. We favor between Darius and Poirier. It's a great fight, but I'd probably favor Poirier. Who are your picks for champs in each division come there in 2023? That's a great question. I love that question. Let's pull up the rankings. Even though they suck, it just gives us a good like snapshot into who's like kind of like at the top of the division right now. Because like I mean, like, there could be someone that's ranked that wins a belt, but it's probably not going to happen. Flyweight, I Figueroa might win this fight, but like, will he stay at 125? Right, probably not. So, oh man, that's a tough one. That division is tough. I guess I would have to go with I don't know, maybe Pantoja if he gets like a title shot, especially at Figueroa. It just depends, right? Because he might give out the belt. It's so hard to predict, Andrew. Like this stuff's hard to predict, man. Sterling at bantamweight. At this point, man, I think I'd have to lean towards Sterling. I think he's just really underrated at this point, and you know, O'Malley's good, Merab's good. He's not going to fight Merab, but I'm just saying O'Malley's good. He might give him a good fight, but I mean, I think you have to lean towards Sterling at 145. What's another tough one? Volk is the best fighter there, but you know how if he loses to Islam, how does he recover from that loss? Like, how does he look at that? Drafting his odds? Okay, let me take a look at that. I'll pull it up if there is. I didn't know. Sorry. Let me pull it up here. Where do you see it? Maybe I don't know. I don't see the UFC future ones today, anyways. I don't see it right now. Maybe they pulled them down for some reason. I don't know. I don't see them right now though. Yeah, I mean, at featherweight, I still have to lean towards Volk, right? But again, I don't know. I'm just picking the champs now, but someone's going to lose their belt, right? Shit, it's so hard to say, guys. Like, I mean, I don't think a lot of us think Leon was going to win that belt. Yeah, no worries. Thanks. They might put them back up after the next card or something. Probably readjusting the odds. Volk's not being Islam. Probably not. No, I don't think I said he was going to beat him. Did I? I don't think so. I mean, he has a chance. Like, everyone's got a chance. Volk is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. I don't think it's like ridiculous to say he's going to win that fight, you know, but it looks like a tough fight against the guy who can grapple and wrestle and can strike too. So, and bigger guy. That's the thing. Volk's moving up. Like, it's crazy what he's doing. He's putting on like his 23 fight win streak on the line to move up in weight. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, I'm just saying I was talking about featherweight though. I think, you know, because he could lose to Islam and go back to featherweight, and he'd fight the winner of Yair and Emmett. Probably beats those guys too. I guess Volk would be my pick there. Islam, yeah, I guess I'd have to go with Islam. Edwards, okay, well, here's one I think will change hands. I mean, Edwards is a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, okay? I definitely think he's amazing. The head kick he landed was one of the best knockouts of all time, but I think Usman gets his belt back, and if Usman doesn't get the belt back, I think Hamzat beats him. That's a champ that's probably gonna lose the belt, guys. I think Leon. He'll enjoy it. He's enjoying his victory tour for the next, couple months. But if he doesn't lose to Usman, he'll lose to Kamaev. If he doesn't lose to Kamaev, he'll lose to Covington. I think, he got the job done. He got the knockout. All credit to the guy. The grappling to me, I know it's improved. It obviously looked good in that first round, but I still think he can get beaten by a better grappler. So he'll probably lose his belt. Pereira, same kind of situation. Like, he has to fight Izzy again. There's no sure thing he'll beat him in a rematch. He might. He obviously seems to have Izzy's number, but like, a Whitaker goes and beats Costa, he probably gets the next title shot. He matches up decently against Pereira. Decently. I'm not saying great, but decently. And then you have a guy like Vittori who matches up decently as well. Or even, Brunson's very chinny, but Brunson's got the wrestling to make it interesting. So that's another one where you could see a title change hands, I think, at middleweight. And light heavyweight, that fight's happening next 2 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks, I should say. Yuri and Glover too. I mean, Yuri's the favorite. I get it. Glover was close to winning the first fight, lost. But honestly, even if Glover doesn't win the belt, like Ankalaev might give him problems. Hill could give him problems. I think Yuri probably loses the belt too. I hate to say it because I really like this guy, but the way he fights is so wild, guys. Like, he'll probably lose. No worries, West Coast. I actually thought I said that. I mean, I think Volk could win. I'm just saying, like, I'm not picking him right now, though. Just to be clear, that's all I was trying to say. He could win, though. Yeah, I think Ankalaev is a good prediction. So if you get good odds at Ankalaev to win the belt next year, that's someone to look at. I think Jones coming back. He's been saying it for 3 years, Jim. I don't think so, man. Usman plus 240 and Kamaev plus 250 last week. You take both, and then you can win something, right? You'd win if they both, if either one of them win the belt. The odds aren't great though, but I mean, I think both of them could win. All right, and then what else? Heavyweight, another one, right? Another one. Depends, right? If Jones comes back and fights Francis, that's a very interesting fight. I think Francis beats Stipe Like, if they fought again, I don't think that'd be a good fight. I think the Khan fight would be interesting in rematch because the first time was so close. We all saw the fight. But Francis, at this point, I if Jones doesn't come back, I mean, I would probably pick Francis over these guys. But I think Francis could lose too. I mean, it's heavyweight again, right? It's possible he could lose. It's very possible. Yeah, I like Ankalaev plus 120. I think he probably ends up being the champ next year, to be honest with you. But again, there's so much that can happen. I wouldn't even bet on that until you see what happens with Glover and Yuri first. Women's divisions, Zhang. I think Zhang probably keeps the belt because unless they give her Rosie, who seems like kind of a tricky matchup. It's almost like Rose. There's some fighters that tricky matchups against certain fighters, like Izzy with Pereira and back in the day, Matheus and Dennis Hallman, right? Sometimes the fighter just has your number, and Rose seems to have it with Bailey, although the second fight was close. But otherwise, like I don't really think that these other challengers give her much of a threat. I think she is going to be the champ next year. Valentina, same thing. I mean, listen, like Furo, Santos. I forgot about Santos earlier. Someone was asking about who she could fight next. The rematch does make sense, but regardless if it's Furo or Santos, if it's Furo, I feel better about her there. Santos is interesting because I think Santos won that first fight before the eye injury, especially. Like she was definitely winning. So that's a potential one. Santos right there. I don't know what the odds are on her if they're, when they come back out, but maybe her. And then a women's bantamweight. This would be a good one to bet against Amanda just because Amanda might, fight Juliana or whoever again. Maybe they do the trilogy or she fights Caitlin or Aldana. She could fight any of them, but I feel like she might end up, vacating her belt and retiring potentially too, right? So that's one you could bet against just the fight or retiring, not necessarily losing, but retiring. So that's potential as well. So hopefully I answered the question of whoever was asking it. Anyways, I think that's good. Bet Santos plus 200, 1,200 this year. Next year was plus 800. That's decent odds. It's not bad odds at all. Anyways, I think that's it. Oh, there's one other comment I missed here. Sorry. If Holloway moves up, should Chandler be welcoming the division fight? Man, it'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. He did fight Dustin Poirier a few years ago, right? And he lost. So don't know if he'll move up, but he might have to because it's like Max has forgotten about 145 just because Volk's the champ, right? But yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna end the podcast, guys. I'm pretty much talked out here. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Short one here today. Just wanted to preview PFL. Guys, follow me on Twitter at @MAdamMartin, podcast at MMAOBDailyPodcast.com. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Back next Monday with Marcel. Be recapping what happened this weekend, and we'll be previewing the UFC Orlando card, which should be really good. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, and see you guys soon. And thanks, Andrew. Appreciate the kind words, man. Back next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Peace.